This strategic error of the American and Israeli enemies of Islamic Iran has humiliated them and placed them on the path of destruction. The armed forces will cut off the leg of any aggressor against Iran.
Iran sharply intensifies invasion threats, effectively forcing President Trump's hand toward deeper entanglement in the expanding war. Iran draws a firm red line, as IRGC leadership warns any U.S. ground invasion guarantees strategic humiliation and defeat. IRGC issues fiery message to cut off the legs of aggressors, signaling a potential nightmare scenario for incoming U.S. forces. Kharg Island emerges as flashpoint, with Tehran vowing to personally decide the fate of any U.S. troops attempting landing there. Iran executes masterful Hormuz power play, tightening its grip and transforming the key strait into ultimate geopolitical leverage. Amid speculations of U.S. boots on the ground in Iran, Tehran has delivered a fresh warning regarding the potential escalation of tensions in the region. Iran's IRGC declared that its forces will cut off the legs of any aggressor attempting an invasion, emphasizing readiness to defend national territory. Khattam al-Anbiya Central HQ stated its forces stand steadfast against any miscalculation by the U.S., prepared to respond to perceived threats.
The armed forces will cut off the leg of any aggressor against Iran. The erroneous assessments of the U.S. president and the criminal leaders of the Israeli regime have caused them to measure the heroic, enemy-defying nation and the powerful and courageous armed forces of Iran with their own material and worldly indicators. Such wrong calculations have made the unprecedented presence of the insightful and revolutionary people in the streets and the miraculous authority and steadfastness of the armed forces on the battlefield unpredictable for the enemy. This strategic error of the American and Israeli enemies of Islamic Iran has humiliated them and placed them on the path of destruction. With fantasies and illusions, they think that through propaganda warfare, the display of seemingly advanced military weapons and equipment, and the assassination of children, women, men, scientists, and courageous commanders of the country's armed forces, they will be able to force a powerful and proud Iran, which throughout history has never bowed before its enemies, to surrender, or, in their vain and false imagination, to gain control over the Strait of Hormuz, a wish they will take to their graves forever. The defeated American Zionist enemies of Islamic Iran must know that the aware and resilient nation and their proud children in the armed forces have proven that they will cut off the foot of any aggressor entering their country and will bring them to utter disgrace and ruin.
On March 31st, Iran's first Vice President Mohammad Reza Aref reinforced this message on X, addressing the ongoing situation publicly. Aref warned that Tehran, not the U.S., would ultimately decide the fate of any U.S. troops invading Kharg Island, asserting Iranian authority. Kharg Island serves as a critical energy node, through which a large share of Iran's oil exports flows to international markets. Additionally, Tehran has signaled a strategic shift in its control and management over the Strait of Hormuz waterway. On March 29th, Aref indicated a long-term restructuring of how Iran manages and oversees the vital Strait of Hormuz passage. As stakes continue to rise, Iran's Parliament Security Committee approved new toll plans for the waterway on March 31st. The plan includes measures to impose tolls on vessels passing through the waterway, as reported by IRIB state media. The plan reportedly also incorporates security protocols, environmental protection standards, and a rial-based toll collection system. In a sharp escalation during the ongoing conflict, Donald Trump signaled plans targeting Iran's critical oil infrastructure. Trump said he preferred the idea of taking Iran's oil and considered seizing Kharg Island, the country's main export hub. He made these remarks in an interview with the Financial Times published on March 30th, amid rising regional tensions. Trump compared the proposal to Venezuela, saying the United States would control oil resources indefinitely following leadership capture. He also dismissed potential obstacles to such an operation, claiming that the United States could take the island very easily if required. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "To be honest with you, my favorite thing is to take the oil in Iran, but some stupid people back in the US say, why are you doing that? But they're stupid people. Maybe we take Kharg Island. Maybe we don't. We have a lot of options. I don't think they, Iran, have any defense. We could take it very easily. unquote. Donald Trump's remarks came as the United States deployed more than 3,500 troops to the Middle East, signaling a growing military buildup amid escalating regional conflict. Donald Trump indicated that the decision to seize Kharg Island has not yet been finalized, stressing that it remains only one option on the table. He said the United States has multiple military and economic options in play, including the possibility of taking control of the strategically vital oil export hub. Trump also added that such a move might ultimately not go ahead, highlighting that there is still uncertainty and internal debate around authorizing any seizure. Analysts, however, have warned that capturing the island could sharply escalate the conflict with Iran and lead to significantly higher casualties for U.S. forces and regional partners. The Pentagon had ordered the deployment of more than 10,000 troops trained for ground combat operations as tensions escalated. Thousands of personnel had already arrived in the region, including Marines and units from the 82nd Airborne Division. Officials briefed on the plan stressed that any mission would fall short of a full-scale invasion, instead relying on elite special forces and selected infantry units for limited, high-impact strikes. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has publicly insisted that Washington can achieve its military objectives against Iran without sending large numbers of American troops deep into Iranian territory. At the same time, the Trump administration has already deployed U.S. Marines to the broader Middle East theater as the Iran war grinds into its fifth week, signaling that Washington is preparing for further escalation. In addition, the Pentagon has drawn up plans to send more than 1,000 soldiers from the U.S. Army's 82nd Airborne Division to the region, bolstering rapid response capabilities if the crisis spirals.
Mr. Secretary, those couple of weeks, how seriously is the United States considering deploying ground troops? And in those couple of weeks, what exactly will
I won't discuss military tactics. I don't think anyone in our system is going to talk to you about what we have planned or what we intend to do, and there's obvious reasons for it. But to the extent it has to do with military tactics and plans, I would refer you to the Department of War, and the Department of War is probably going to tell you they can't tell you anything. So other than to say that we have objectives, I told you what those objectives are, and we are very confident that we are on the verge of achieving them very, very soon.
Meanwhile, amid reports of an Iran invasion, Trump issued a new statement on the developing crisis. Trump told aides he could end the Iran campaign even if the strait stays shut, according to the Wall Street Journal. Trump is reportedly ready to delay any complex operation designed to reopen the strait amid current conditions. A WSJ report citing officials said Trump may decide to reopen up Epic Fury later, after further evaluation.